Beards and Flicks, baby. Cheers to our very first video recording. This is interesting.
Okay, guys.
We are back.
We are back.
2021 first episode.
Welcome to Beards and Flicks. My name is Brad. I am joined, as always, with Justice League.
Justice League.
This is our first video podcast. We've only done audio since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we are now, you can see us.
We're not messing around this year. We want to take it to the next level really fast.
Yep. That's why we're drinking.
Also that too. And on top of doing video for the first time, we also have a very special guest.
Who's our guest?
So we have Chris Rice in the studio with us today. Chris Rice, I've titled him my favorite person of 2020. That is my title for you from here on moving forward.
That's awesome.
That's the biggest honor for.
And he actually cooked for us today. What did you cook for us?
I made some jambalaya, and it's the best jambalaya that anyone's ever.
It was really good. It was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, so I want to thank you on air for doing that for us.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
I feel like I should be thanked on air.
Guys, it's 2021.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right? Yeah.
Here we are, right?
It feels like just yesterday we were rushing through 2020, trying to get to 2021, and here we are.
We were all together, ringing in the new year.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Twice.
It was
Twice.
So we're recording on Saturday. We hung out Tuesday night,
good. Yep.
and then on New Year's Eve Thursday night.
Yep.
And here we are again.
Here we are.
We're the every other day guys. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
The every other day guys.
It's a sequel to the other guys.
I'm just happy to be back because I was talking to Brad about this. It's been 5 weeks since we've recorded.
Yeah.
And since we started the podcast, we haven't taken that long of a break.
Yeah.
And I could tell after week 3, I said, I need to get back in the studio and start recording. I need it, man.
Yeah. And we recorded those Christmas episodes at the end of November.
Yeah.
So we didn't record in December at all, did we?
Right. Because you had your son, so we planned ahead. How was that time with your son?
That was so good. He was here most of December.
I'm so happy that you got to have that time with him, man. That's awesome.
Yep. But like you, I'm excited to get back to recording.
Yeah.
And like we said in our video on our Facebook and our Instagram, we're super excited to have weekly episodes and a full year of incredible content. So
first full year.
Yeah.
Nothing but big things, I think, for us this year.
This year's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is going to be the opposite of 2020. We're going to reverse it. We're going to Avengers Endgame this one. This year.
Yeah. Really good feelings for this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good feelings. Chris, how about you?
I think I'm really looking forward to you guys having a year full of episodes. I'm gonna brag on you guys on your own podcast. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm about to do it. I'm just so excited because this has been an inspiring thing for me as an artist, as a musician, things like that. Is just seeing someone going creative after something they're passionate about. That's just huge for me. So I'm really thankful for it. I'm looking forward to what you guys are doing, and as much as 2020 was a shit year, there were some lights throughout that year. Yep. Like the relationship I've gotten to form with you guys, and the relationship with my girlfriend, things like that. Like as shitty as it was, there were bright moments, and I think that I'm ready for it to be done, and I'm ready to see what this year has. Spent some time yesterday morning. Yesterday was the first, right? It sure was. It was definitely the first. Because today is the second. It's the 2th of January. The 2th. Jenny and I spent some time chatting about, what were our favorite parts? What was our high for 2020? What was our low? And then what do we want to accomplish this year? What is something that we want to set as a goal? I just think it's important to set some goals, even if they're, kind of vague.
Right.
I think it helps with giving you a place to go for the year. Like I'm not one for like resolutions. I almost said revolutions. Those are different things.
That's coming later. Yeah. The revolution is coming later. Yeah. But I want to touch on something you said. You said that you guys focused on the good and the bad, because as bad as 2020 was for a lot of different reasons, for a bunch of different people. We did have some highlights. You got to spend some quality time with your son.
Yep.
You found a relationship, and she started a boutique.
Yep.
And
that's cool.
I found a job in quarantine, which is really rare to have found a job in quarantine, where most people lost jobs and didn't have jobs to go back to. And lost their source of income. I think there was a lot of blessings for a lot of people in 2020.
Yep.
But overall, there's still just a lot of work to do to get out of that 2020 slump for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Chris, let's talk about what it is you do and your side hustle. Because you work at Truevine, is that right? Okay, that's your full time.
That is all I have right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
But you also record music.
Yes. So I have been doing music for 18 years. I've been playing. My first instrument were drums and guitar, and I just kind of ran with that. I grew up in church, and I played on worship teams and things like that. And I played in a band in the late 2000s. Did some like regional touring. Got to play Cornerstone Festival and Ichthus Festival.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. Like I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I got to play with some bands that like I grew up listening to, and I was like, man, I'm living it. And I'm like, I didn't make any money. I spent so much money doing that.
So what band were you in before you went solo?
It was a band called Decree.
Decree.
Yep.
Not The Creed.
Not the Creeds.
Or the Crudes.
And the Creeds. Oh, Ryan would be so happy about that.
It would be.
I lost my train of thought. We were called Decree. We played just like some like heavy rock is what it was. It was kind of a weird time for music of our genre at that time, because everybody around here was either super heavy and like very in your face metal type
Right.
stuff, or
Like Fit for a King.
Yeah, Fit
or
for
like
a King.
Ivory Line was a little
Ivory Line
less
was out.
hard.
They had just gotten signed the year we played Cornerstone, I believe.
Okay.
And Fit for a King actually opened for us at our CD release show. So like that was really cool.
That's
And
crazy. And
yeah.
they exploded.
Yeah, they were some awesome dudes, really fun. I still stay in touch with Jared, the drummer.
Yeah.
And they just awesome guys. But yeah, like the scene was that or like really chill stuff.
Okay.
And we had nowhere. We'd either be playing with bands that were way too heavy, and people would be like, "These guys are too soft," or they would be like, "These guys are too heavy." It was never.
Okay. So like, you couldn't find your middle ground.
Yep, and
Okay.
it was rough in this area. We'd go and play places, and people would really like us.
Yeah.
But around here it was tough.
Okay.
And the music scene was very different than I think the climate here in the area. But yeah,
So the band dissolved.
yeah. It in 2012, I think. It dissolved. Nope, 2010.
Hey.
My years are wrong.
10
everybody.
years ago, guys.
10 years ago. That's how
11
many
years ago. It's 2021.
Listen.
Fun fact, Chris has been playing for 18 years. He's only 18.
Yeah.
My hairline says otherwise, Mike.
Your hairline says 32.
Which, according to my girlfriend, is correct. She'll tell you that.
Yeah, you
I
won't
don't
tell
know.
us.
I have to ask her. I can't tell you. She knows.
Yeah.
I'm not the one with the.
So you've been playing solo for the last few years?
Yeah. It was about 2.5, 3 years ago. I went down to. I think we were talking about this the other day. I went down to Austin with some friends, and we got together and we were shooting some stuff for his apparel company called Dark Horse Machine, and it was just kind of on a whim. And me and the guy that played drums in the band I was in were talking, and we talked about what it takes to grow and what it takes, like as an artist or anything, you have to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And so I decided, that was the day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write some music that I'm not comfortable writing, that has not been my normal. So I started doing a lot of like alt pop, hip hop type stuff,
Yeah.
and it's been really fun.
You were playing some of that for us the other night. And so what is it? How can listeners find that?
So if you can find it under While He Dreams on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, whatever you listen to a streaming platform of some sort, it's on there. It's on Pandora. I've got a lot more streams on Pandora than I thought I ever would.
That's cool.
I found that out through the service I used to release, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, I didn't know anybody would find that. But I will give Pandora that. They have a really great segue to have your music found by people.
That's cool.
So that's really cool.
Well, it's good to hear because we just got on Pandora.
Yeah, so it's good that they have a way to find music because apparently not podcasts.
yeah. Pandora just got into the podcast game, but we're on there too. So, listeners, you can find us on there.
Now you said the name. Is this the name of your EP? While he sleeps.
While He Dreams.
While He Dreams.
Which is funny you say that. I wrote, the reason I went with that title, I wanted to do While He Sleeps, but that's apparently a band already. But I wrote every song, but maybe one of them, while my son was either napping or was asleep at night.
That's interesting.
That's what it means.
Yep.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was. I wanted to pay homage to him, and it's turned out great. It's been a lot of fun, really challenging, but I'm really digging everything. I'm really proud of everything that I've put out, and hopefully the original plan was for the end of this year, but with 2020 being 2020 and finances being wild, I wasn't able to release the album. But hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months, I'll be able to do that. So.
Well, cool, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us over the next couple episodes. When did you start listening to Beards and Flicks?
Oh, from the beginning.
That's awesome.
Probably I started episode 3 is where I started.
Okay, cool.
And I've listened to, I didn't listen to Scrooged yet, but that's on my list. But I've listened to everything else.
So you went back to the first two and listened to those?
Yep, I think I told you this, Mike. I like to give a couple episodes so I can binge it.
Multiple people have told me that.
Me too.
They wait a few weeks
Right.
and then they'll listen.
So over the last probably 2 weeks before leading up to us recording again, I've had people tell me that they listen to it in groups. I have a cousin who gets up at 6 a.m. and he'll listen to 2 every morning, 2 episodes in the mornings.
Okay.
And then I've had people tell me that they'll kind of bounce around. I've had people tell me that they'll listen to the episodes of the movies that they like.
Or
they're
the ones they
interested
haven't
in,
seen.
Or the ones they haven't seen,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a friend of mine who lives in L.A. She works for Netflix. Shout out to you, Allie. This is for you. So she will listen to the episodes, and she's like, oh, I haven't heard of that movie. So she'll listen to the episode, and then she'll go watch the movie.
That's cool.
So we're turning people on in different ways.
Some other friends told us the same thing about This Christmas.
Yeah.
His family hadn't seen it. They listened to the episode, then they showed the whole family the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're turning people on to different movies, which is really the goal.
That's
That
awesome.
was the goal.
That's awesome.
We've had people reach out to us through DMs and say they've been inspired by what we've done and they
Right.
love us, and now they want to do their own podcast someday. So
Really
we're
cool.
doing something really special, I think, reaching people in a way that I don't think we even imagined in the beginning.
Right. Really
So,
cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So today we're talking about a movie called Shutter Island. Martin Scorsese directed, Leonardo DiCaprio starring with Mark Ruffalo. One of Scorsese's only psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
Really, really good movie. We watched it last night. Mike and I
Really?
watched it last night. When did you watch it?
I watched it it's Wednesday.
Okay, with Jenny?
Yep.
Right on.
Oh, God, it's so good.
So tell me why you chose this movie, Chris.
Because it is, even though it has such a substantial twist in it that you don't expect for a little while, it is so rewatchable. I watched it the first time I watched it one day and then rewatched it the next day to see how it was through his eyes and the noticing of things going on around him.
Wow.
And I love that aspect. I've seen it. I think this was my 5th or 6th time to see the movie.
Okay.
And each time I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
There's some excellent moments with the score, with everything.
Nice. Do you think, I was going to ask you this
Okay.
last night, but there's some things that I wanted to talk about while we're watching
Same.
that I held on to
Okay.
relive today. So let's talk about, how do you think that was written? Was it written from the end and then backwards? Or how do you think it was crafted?
I'll tell you this because I just found this out through some research. This is based on a novel.
Okay.
And I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
You're shaking your head. You knew that.
I read it.
See, I didn't know this until last night. So whatever the process was for the writer of the film and adapting this book, I don't know what that process was. I wouldn't even know how to tackle this. I think it'd be interesting to write it backwards to forward.
See, that's how I would think it would be written,
Yeah.
because, all of the revelations were happening at the third act,
Mm-hmm.
and you would go backwards to put in all those clues and things that you wouldn't really look for unless you watch it again,
Right.
right?
I would imagine it was written the same way that, what's the Christopher Nolan Guy Pearce, where everything is going backwards? That movie. I can't think of the name. We're all gonna blank.
Yep.
Memento, thank you.
Yeah.
I would think that this was written in the same format that Memento was written, because that movie goes,
Backwards.
in reverse.
It's reverse,
yeah. So I would think it was written the same way.
yeah.
That's how I would tackle it as a
But it
writer as
wasn't.
well. Right, but it wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, it was based on a novel. Okay. I mean, we don't know how the guy wrote the novel.
Right, exactly.
So maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm surprised that this was actually a novel. I was surprised to find that out because Marty normally does original stories. True. And I think that's why this was so different from everything he's done before and after.
Yeah.
It's because this was something that he just was really drawn to.
Yeah.
Both
Man,
he and Leo.
It was so good. And I love Leo as an actor. I've always loved him. My favorite movie of all time is Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. Mark Ruffalo, I said this last night, was a really good role for him, man.
Was.
Ben Kingsley, like just fantastic. You know?
Yeah.
Sir Ben Kingsley. Sorry.
So, does anybody know why they call him Sir?
I don't know. I mean, he's got a Sir title, like Elton John. Like he's been.
He's knighted.
Oh, is that
He's been
for
knighted.
real?
He's been knighted, yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Isn't Anthony Hopkins a Sir?
Yeah.
I think he got Sir'd also.
Ian McKellen's a Sir. Sir Ian McKellen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you could pick a title to put in front of your name, what would it be?
Mr.
Mr. Brad Johnson.
Mr. Brad.
I like that. We should probably do that as a nickname. Chris, what would you have in front of your name?
Doctor.
Oh, even better. Dr. Chris
It
Rice.
sounds impressive. It's,
Paging Dr. Rice.
I'll be their stat.
That's good.
Nice. Well, Shutter Island, what jumps out at you guys?
Okay, I have to just start off with this.
Please start off.
I'm really. I don't mean to steal your thunder.
No, take the reins, steal my thunder, and leave me helpless.
What a swag jacking? Is that what?
Swagger jacking, yeah, we're bringing it back.
There is. There was something that Mark Ruffalo's character. Have you ever what his full name is? He just calls him Chuck the whole movie.
Right.
His name is Chuck All.
Oh,
Chuckle.
yeah. I didn't even catch that.
Yep. And it tripped me out, and I'm like, that's clever because it makes you wonder, did he come up with that name? Like
Right.
who came up with that name for his character?
So, fun fact, now that I know what you just said, there's a lot of scenes, noticing this last night, where he's almost about to laugh or he has a smirk on his face. And that kind of makes sense. I think it kind of
Chuckle.
ties into the chuckle. Yeah.
Interesting.
This is why I love filmmaking. Like when
Yep.
you break down the process of the characters and the writing, cinematography, all
Yep.
that it encompasses, stories like that, and you catch these things,
Yeah.
and then they come out like what you just said.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love that.
So 2010. Where were we in movies in 2010?
Oh man, I'm gonna start off with Inception, another DiCaprio
Incredible
film, which
movie.
is yeah.
I liked it a lot. Chris?
Yeah, it was a great movie. It's tough for me to rewatch because of the subject matter, but it's
Same thing. I only watched it like a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic film. Some of the best cinematography that I've
You could make the argument that Leo's wives in Shutter Island and Inception both suffer from mental illness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
True.
Because in
100%
Inception,
agree
she
with
suffers
that.
from this delusion
So
of.
he's probably filming these two movies at the same time.
I'm sure they crossed over.
I'm sure, and like psychologically for Leo, like how would that have been? Like,
Tormenting.
It's heavy.
And I even mentioned this to you last night how it's like Leo's crying or like in emotional distress.
Yeah.
In pretty much every scene he's in.
Dude, his emotions in Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to list a few other movies that came out that year, you had Toy Story 3, which isn't most people's favorite. It's really dark.
I'm not a big fan of that one.
Yeah, Chris, what about you? Toy
I haven't
Story 3?
seen 4.
I cried.
Because they're about to die?
Yeah, it was just
Spoiler alert!
It was,
10 years ago, come on, get it together.
yeah, it was. It's not my favorite of the Toy Story franchise, that's for sure.
I've got a title on this list that I know Brad loves that he wants to watch with me, Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yes.
That is
Such a good movie. Edgar
agree.
Wright, Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
I almost said John
Mary
Cena.
Elizabeth-
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans in a really funny role.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Mary
I've seen
Elizabeth
some clips of
Winstead.
him in the movie on YouTube just because I was curious because
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Chris Evans.
So you haven't seen Scott Pilgrim?
No, never.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so Brad's mentioned that he wants to
Yeah.
watch it with me when I watch it for the first time.
It's so good.
And we're definitely going to...
Yep.
Cover
Kieran
that one.
Culkin.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
What's her name? Her. Anna Kendrick is the sister.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza.
This is like a big...
It's a really good
cat.
movie. Kieran
Wow.
Culkin.
Yeah.
Did I already say that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Full circle.
Full
Bourbon.
But I don't want to get too caught up on the cinematic environment of 2010. But there's those movies, The Social Network.
Okay.
One of my favorites, David Fincher.
Army Hammer in 2 roles, which is really incredible.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon animated film.
The first one.
The first one.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They've had 3,
there's
right?
3 of those, I believe.
So you've seen. There's 4.
Yeah, there's 4.
There's 4?
Oh,
I believe
wow.
there's 4. I could be lying.
This is why Chris is here to debunk everything.
To fact check us?
Or to unfact check us.
There's 4?
I'm pretty certain.
Okay. We could fact check, but none of us are going to look at our phones.
There's a series, and that's what I'm thinking.
It's a franchise for sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely 3. I don't know about 4.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
We can fact check after we record, so nobody will know. The Town, the Fighter.
Hold on. You can't just go over The Town that
You're
fast.
right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
The Town. All right.
The Town was incredible,
It
bro.
is.
Ben
It is.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck. The Arrow guy from the Avengers movies. What is his?
Jeremy Renner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
John Hamm.
John Hamm.
He's really good
Arrow
at that.
guy from the Avengers movies.
Yes.
That's what he is, man. I mean,
that's how we work. Because
should've-
he knows. I know what he's saying.
yeah. And he should have been the one to die in Avengers. I'm sorry, but
He knows that.
who wants
He
to
even
watch a
referenced
Hawkeye
it.
series?
Another spoiler alert.
Oh, Endgame. Hey, by the way, Endgame is going to be on TNT tomorrow,
On
but when you
cable
hear this, it will
TV.
already have happened.
Yeah, cable TV. Jeez.
5 hours long. Get your
Jeez
popcorn.
Louise.
Yeah.
The Fighter. Mark
With-
Wahlberg and
oh,
Christian
man.
Bale.
Oh, that's a really good movie.
Amy Adams.
I want to say that Ron Howard directed that.
You may be right.
I don't know.
When we cover something else, maybe we'll know.
All right, we'll find out.
Spoiler. Stay tuned, guys.
All the spoilers.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Ooh. Oh, man, that's a good one.
Which to me, when I saw the 2 movies, I didn't read the books. Part 1 was better than Part 2 for me.
Agreed.
I like part 1 better, yeah.
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 A lot of people didn't, and I really love.
Is that when Dobby dies?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Also 2010. If you haven't seen it by now.
It's been 10 years, people.
Yeah. You either read the book or you saw the movie at this point,
Yeah.
I would assume.
I hope so.
Winter's Bone, which was Jennifer Lawrence's claim to fame, basically.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Put her on the map. I haven't even, but I heard really good
That's
things
her,
about it.
that's her claim to fame?
Yeah.
Really?
That's her first, watch out for her.
Really?
Movie. Yeah. I haven't recorded. I'll
Winter's
watch it at some
Bone.
point. Yeah.
Sounds like a porn name.
Despicable Me. What did you say? Please repeat that.
Winter's Bone. Sounds like a porn name.
I was literally thinking it was going to say it.
Movie
and you
titles
beat me
that
to
sound
it.
like porn names. Deep Impact is on that list.
Gone in 60
Yeah.
seconds.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's really good.
And Easy A, Emma Stone.
Okay.
Hilarious movie.
Porn name.
Easy A? Forget
Come
it.
on, guys.
No, we're going to bail on that one.
All right. I actually never saw that.
It's really good. Have you seen it?
No.
Emma
It's
Stone.
funny.
Emma Stone. Who else is in it?
Thomas Hayden Church, Lisa Kudrow.
Okay.
What's the actress that went to rehab and you haven't heard from her again? A lot of them have done that happen. Forget it. A lot of those have done rehab and you
Yeah.
never hear from them again.
Okay. Who knows?
It's fine, yeah. And Tron Legacy.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
And the Daft Punk score, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
For me, the score makes the film. The
So
score and the visuals.
In 2020, they released a deluxe edition of that score, and listeners, check it out. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard it too as well.
Bunch of alternate takes and
Yeah,
like
there's a
additional-
specific piece of music that plays when what's her name's character enters the real world
Oh, okay.
at the end, and they're riding a motorcycle. There's a piece of music. It's on the deluxe edition, but
Only?
not the
Okay.
regular. Yeah,
That's cool. Really good.
Probably my favorite piece of music is that ending piece of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Tangents and deep dives. Chris is here. We're gonna do this all day
Deep
long.
dives.
Get ready. But yeah, that was the cinematic.
So that was 2020.
2010, yeah.
2010. Did we just? Okay, now we're 2021. Okay.
Math and numbers. Get ready.
And bourbon. All right, so talk about what you like the most about Shutter Island.
I like that it tackles mental illness
Yep.
in
In multiple ways.
but all very realistic. Yes. There are certain moments where this takes place in a mental health facility.
Yep.
It's called Ashcliff.
Yep.
Which, ironically enough, Paramount Television and HBO were at one point gonna try to brainstorm to have a TV show
What?
to be the origin of the film.
Oh, wow, a
Yeah.
prequel.
And I would have loved that, but obviously didn't happen. That was 2014 when that happened. But everything about this movie made me feel like It seemed too realistic. I felt like a lot of research was done in terms of how mental health facilities operate and how they deal with patients. They talk about orbital orbital lobotomies, yes. Which was a real thing. I can't say if it's done today or not, but it was a practice used. And back then, this film takes place in 1954. And a lot of, I would say, inhumane practices were done in these types of facilities back then because they were just trying different things to cure people of mental illness and who suffer from mental health. And the language, the vocabulary that was used in this film, to me, it seems all realistic. And with Marty being who Marty is as a director, I would have to say I know he did his research to do this movie.
I didn't know you and Marty were on like a short name basis.
So fun fact, 2 nights ago I DM'd him just to see if he would call in for this episode.
Why did you DM him?
So I was prompted because my favorite film is Collateral. Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx, directed by Michael Mann. The writer of that film is Stuart Beatty.
Okay. It's Beatty.
Beatty.
Yeah.
I messaged him back in May 2020 just for some advice and tips on what he would tell an up-and-coming screenwriter because he once was an up-and-coming screenwriter.
And then New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, he actually responded to me, gave me some advice.
Yeah.
And I was blown away.
We're standing around, Chris, you were there.
Yeah.
We're standing around at some friend's house, and you freaked out.
Checked my phone, and I said, oh, Stuart Beatty responded to my message.
Yeah.
I never would have thought. This was May, so we're talking 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. Honestly, I really did. And so when I saw his name, I told everybody in that house that night. Yeah.
We were all freaking out with you, man. We were excited.
Right. Because Stuart Beatty isn't like a popular name you hear when you talk about writers of Hollywood films.
Yeah.
But when you mention Michael Mann, Jamie Foxx, Tom Cruise, it's like, oh, he wrote this script that those guys performed.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
He not only does that, but he inspires you. What does he say?
It's on my phone that's recording me right now.
Well, he basically,
here's
in a nutshell.
Here's what he said.
Yeah.
If you're not getting arrested, you're not knocking down enough doors. So basically, harass everyone until someone says, okay, you know what? You've harassed us enough. We'll work with you.
Yeah.
Because we see you're passionate, you're driven, you're motivated.
Yep.
So let's see what you have to offer us, and we'll work with you.
That's cool.
That's what happened to Stuart Beatty. So Stuart Beatty, thank you so much for that advice. I will take that and carry that forever.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
And that's what prompted me to DM Martin Scorsese.
Yep.
On Instagram that night. I don't know if it was you or someone else at that house that night and said, well, we're covering Shutter Island. Why not just DM him and just see what happens?
I don't remember who said that. Yeah.
But it didn't happen, so it's fine.
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, like it took 8 months for Stuart to message you back.
Yeah.
So let's wait on
I even
Marty.
said, well, we're going to
Can I
cover
call
more
him
of your
Marty too?
films.
Is it okay?
So the scene where they meet each other, the very first scene we see, did that really happen?
I think it did. Because, and what I wonder is this is why he was sick, is I wonder if they drugged him. Because they even try to put him to sleep later.
Okay.
And make it seem, and he believes who he is.
So
he
that
believes
trip,
that he is.
trip to the island would have been a normal trip because you've got to get to the island, right, by boat, right? But the way he's remembering it is not what we saw in the film. Sorry, the way he's remembering it is what we did see in the film, but it's not really what happened. Is that right?
No, I'm saying I think that they took him out on a boat.
Because that's the whole persona, or the whole...
It's playing the game.
Because
they created.
Ben Kingsley's character says, I wanted to set up the grandest role play in the history of what does it say, psychiatry, mental health, to bring you back to...
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I really do think it was. And that's why I think.
Yeah.
You,
Well, that's when
you
we
said you
find
don't
out.
think it was?
Well, no, I was just curious to hear your take on that because I've actually debated back and forth with myself on that, but I can see how, like you said, because it's a grandiose performance that they all put on to kind of shake him out of it. They let it play out, so they like role play this whole thing for him, and they play their parts. And then when they get to the reveal, obviously at the end, they hope that all of this performance has been a ruse, and they reveal the truth. And it like shakes his mind to where he realizes, okay, I was wrong this whole time. Yeah.
Do you know how Mark Ruffalo was given this role?
I don't.
It plays into what you just talked about.
What?
He wrote a fan letter to Scorsese.
No, he did not. Really? Yo, that's
saying
crazy.
how much he would love to work with him.
Yeah.
And he was cast.
Wow. See, that's all it takes.
Kismet.
Kismet.
Right?
With a Z, yes.
Four
I thought it was an
S's.
S.
We don't know how it's spelled. Whatever.
We don't fact check anything in this podcast.
Martin Scorsese likes to go by Marty, everybody. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
It's
no.
facts now.
So, quick tangent. Fun fact about Marty, we're the same height.
Are you?
5'3".
Man, I knew he was short. I didn't
So
know you
now
were
I'm
that
proud of
short.
my 5'3"ness.
5'3"ness?
I swear on the podcast a couple weeks ago you said you were 5'4".
I did. But now because Marty's 5'3", stop listening so close, Chris.
He's fact-checking
I'm
our
just
podcast.
fact checking the podcast. That's all I'm
Yeah,
doing.
don't do that. That's going to be our intern job when that happens later on in the year.
Yeah.
No, but that's really cool that because actors do that often. You hear stories because how often do you get a chance to work with somebody as great as Martin Scorsese?
Yeah. And Ruffalo had been around for a little while before. Let's talk about the cast.
Okay.
Mark, what was that? I've been trying to remember for the past few days. That movie that Mark was in, the romantic comedy where he was dead.
Okay, so that movie is
Sweet
a really,
November?
No. That movie's really good, and it's called. It's named after the Cure song. Just Like Heaven.
Just like heaven.
With
It
Reese
was with
Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was 2005.
That's a
so
good movie.
like the year before that was 13 Going on 30, which was his kind of breakout role,
With
right?
Jennifer Garner?
He was in Collateral.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I thought he was Mexican in that because of his mustache and goatee.
He did Eternal Sunshine with Jim Carrey, which is a fantastic movie.
Oh, yeah.
Prior to that was View from the Top with Pepper Potts. And what was that? Wasn't
We
like
talked about it last night. Zodiac.
yeah. Oh yeah, Zodiac.
Zodiac.
Yeah.
Yep. He was in a movie called Wind Talkers in 2002.
With Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yep. Who is you, right? You're
that's me.
you're Nicolas Cage. Prior to that, not a whole lot that was big. He was in 54, 98, which is that movie about the club called 54.
Yeah. Spotlight. Rachel McAdams, Michael Keaton. About the kids who were molested by the Catholic
Oh,
Church.
that was newer. That was more recent film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, because after he goes Avengers and...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So like he's the Hulk, the new Hulk in the Avengers in the MCU. Really good actor.
He's a great actor. I love him.
I've really enjoyed all the things he's been in, especially this role. Like this role was really good for him.
I mean, do we even need to talk about Leo? I mean, how great he is.
Leo has been in a lot of Scorsese movies.
Right.
A lot. His rise in his career was in the mid '90s, right, with Titanic, and he just exploded.
Even before that, in the 80s.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains, yes.
Well, going back to the beginning, yeah, Growing Pains was when that's his breakout role,
Right.
right? But when he really got into like worldwide fame,
Yeah.
would have been Titanic. You think?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, what's eating Gilbert?
Well, I
Grape?
would make the argument for Gilbert. What's eating Gilbert
Gilbert
Grape?
Grape was
Johnny
really
Depp.
big. Johnny Depp.
Yeah. But I think Titanic was the one that propelled him to A-list stardom. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So Titanic was when?
97.
97.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the year after, wrong movie. So
Yeah. So Romeo and Juliet was '96.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that was The Quick and the Dead
yeah,
in '95.
Gene Hackman.
Basketball Diaries
Yeah.
in '95 also. Did you guys ever see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's a crazy movie.
Poison Ivy '92.
Passed.
He was in Critters 3 in 1991.
Of course he was. Why not?
I mean, there's so many like major A-list actors who have had like horror movie past, right? Like
Right.
Jennifer Aniston.
Was it Leprechaun 3?
Leprechaun 3, I think. Yeah. Yep. So like early '90s, he was on Roseanne for a couple episodes. He did the Outsiders TV series, which I never knew existed.
No. And they're making a new one.
There's a really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, like the Parenthood TV series in the '90s, not the newest one, but the one in the '90s. But like everybody knows his late '90s movies and his
Right.
2000s movies, and he's done what 3 or 4 Scorsese movies?
More than that, I think. Like, so you have certain actors. You talked about this before. In
Talent
other
pool.
Talent pool, yes.
Yep.
Marty and Leo hook up for a lot of movies.
Departed,
Yeah. Thank you. Gangs of New York is a
Gangs
Marty
of New
film.
York, but like
Daniel Day-Lewis.
What was it? What else? I think those are the big three. Like Departed,
The
Shutter
Aviator.
Island. Oh, Aviator.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Aviator.
Oh, are we talking about
That's
Martin
Scorsese.
Scorsese?
Yeah.
You don't think it was? Wolf on Wall
No,
Street.
I don't. I think he was. I just don't remember.
I think it was too.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street for sure was Marty. People say that's like his best movie. And yeah, I don't think
Whose
that's
best movie?
People say that Marty's best movie is Wolf of Wall Street.
Really?
I would beg to differ.
Leo is one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies. Catch Me If You Can, 2002.
It's an excellent movie.
Really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max von Sydow, right?
Yeah.
Really good role for him.
He
You know what I'm
looks
talking
like
about? He's like the German doctor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of stuff. It's
Michelle
great.
Williams.
He's that guy.
Bro.
So here's the thing,
Yeah.
and I told you this last night. She's a talented actress,
Yeah.
and I think she was wasted in this movie. But because it's Martin Scorsese, you don't say no.
Well, I mean, her role wasn't that big.
Right, that's what I'm saying. She's too talented to have only been in a
Okay.
handful of
So
scenes.
they
that she
should have
was in.
chosen a more of a lesser known.
Right, but I think she said yes because it's Martin Scorsese and it's
I mean,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, there are certain
Yeah.
directors in this business you just don't say no to.
Yeah. So how did this movie do in the box office?
So this was a February 19th, 2010, so like right after,
Yeah. After Oscar season.
yeah, so Valentine's Day basically,
Yep.
around that time, which a lot of movies come out around that time, actually become pretty big.
Yeah.
The first Deadpool
Oh,
comes
okay.
out around that time.
Right. That was Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Right. This was an $80 million budget, made $294 million.
Oh my gosh.
So it made a lot of money, and
Good on return.
yes, and I think it was very warranted because this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Powerful cast.
Yep.
So I think it was worth the money they put into it, and they definitely got their money back tenfold for sure. So the writer of this film is Laida or Laida. I don't know how to pronounce that. So she's done a few things that I've heard of. Some I've seen, some I haven't. She wrote Alexander with
Okay.
Colin Farrell and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
The Pathfinder with Carl Urban, which I never saw. I think he was supposed to be like a Viking, a Viking tale.
It was okay.
Yeah, it looked like it was just okay, so I kind of passed. Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Which,
That's the one with
Or Dark Fate.
Game of Thrones one. The Game of Thrones
yeah,
girl.
and I wasn't a fan of that.
She also did Altered Carbon,
She's the creator of Altered Carbon.
which is an incredible Netflix
Yes.
series. So Patricia Clarkson played Rachel number 2,
Mm-hmm.
which was a really cool role in that whole thing where she's in the cave and
Yeah.
everything. That was crazy, right?
That was really, it was trippy because, leading up to that, we see the one, like, not even a human-sized hole inside of the cave, or the
Yeah.
wall, and these rats start pouring out. First just a couple, and then, like, they just start pouring out.
Yeah, you leaned over. You're like, "Is that a hallucination?"
Yeah, we
I
talked
was
about
like,
that
"I
because I
hope
was
so."
like, I don't know if that would even be there. And you kind of explained it, you kind of debunked it, and it made sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Your
that's
explanation.
that's because he's on the drugs, and that's like his psyche didn't want him to go in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But he like fought through that psyche to get into the cave.
Because then he looks over and he sees, like, the flicker of the flame from another hole in the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah, and he's like, "Chuck."
Yeah.
Chuck!
Yeah. Because he had just sent Chuck off.
Well, he thought Chuck had fallen down there.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he gets down there and sees that that's just like a mark shape.
It's like a silhouette of like a dead body.
Like it looked like it was that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believed it. I mean, like, if you believe it, you're like, oh, you're with him.
Right.
You believe it, and
Right.
then you're like shocked as he is shocked. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
A good moment. Ted Levine plays the warden.
The voice.
Yeah.
Bro, Ted Levine.
His face is the same in every movie.
His face, like he has that weird like.
Yeah. So the first thing he did when I said it was Ted Levine was the voice. Yeah. It's very
Yeah,
distinctive.
because
that guy.
he talks with
He's that guy.
he talks with his mouth closed all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he's got one shot. I don't know.
I can't remember when he says something wild to Leo's character.
Yeah. When he picks him up after he's been in the cave all night.
That was
We're men of
really
violence.
weird.
That's what
Yeah.
he calls back to
That was a really good.
That was a weird
a good
scene.
monologue, but very weird. But yeah, it's like he's trying to test Leo, because at the end he says something to the effect of, "What if I try to lean over and bite your eyeball out?"
Yeah.
And Leo says, he leans, he's like, "Why don't you try it?"
Yeah, why don't you
and
try
he said,
it?
"Now you're getting
Yeah.
now you're getting it. Now you understand what I'm trying to say."
Yeah.
'Cause he's talking about how we all have evil in us and we're all
Yeah.
men of violence. And he basically went on that whole tirade to get Leo to prove his point, and he did. He does.
And he did, yeah.
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 There's so many good moments in this movie, man, like
Yeah.
that.
We were talking about his psyche and things like that. This is where I was going when we were talking about the rats pouring out. I want to talk about how the score was used in that and his evolution, how the score changed, even though it's the same song pretty much through that cello song throughout the whole thing. Yeah. The beginning of the movie, it's louder and more discordant. Yeah. As the movie progresses, it gets quieter and everything kind of blends better. And I really enjoyed that because I imagine at the beginning of the film, his head's not on straight, and it is this conviction that this is what I believe. Latest caused a fire, and I'm going to find him, and it killed my wife, and blah blah blah. And he's looking for all those things. And as the film progresses, when those like intense moments happen, the music is just it's subdued, but it's still there. It's still discordant. Like he's fighting through that psyche and having that flashback to the war with who's the composer? Mahler.
There's no composer.
So
no, I mean for the song that they use.
That particular piece, you mean?
That particular piece, which also wasn't was lost. Apparently, it never existed during the war. Like it was impossible to find. But,
Interesting.
Wow.
But whatever.
Huh. Well, you came over and we were talking about this movie, and we were like, "There's no composer for this movie," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Then we watched it, and sure enough, like they have the same 4 or 5 songs that are used over and over. And it's something Quentin Tarantino does a lot. Yeah. Like he'll make movies and not have original score at all for his movies. He'll choose songs that are from other movies or whatever to use on his soundtracks, which is incredible. Like if you can make it work for your piece, then use it, you know?
Well, you talk about how it starts out really loud, and it makes me think, because as the film progresses, more of the truth is revealed. Yes. So the music gets softer. Yep. So it's like it's loud. Because I even told you last night.
You did.
It starts out loud. It's like frenetic. It's anxiety-inducing a little bit because of how loud it is. It's like a mixture of, like you said, the cello and maybe like a tuba.
Yep, it's like a lot of like horns, and it's just it's intense and loud, and it's real loud when they open the gates.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
And when it first started, when we first heard it, I was like, "Oh, it's like a foghorn," because it sounds like a ship horn, and they're on the boat, you know. But then you keep hearing it throughout the movie, and it's unnerving completely.
This movie has it pays a lot of homages to like movies that were in that film noir and horror thriller type. Yep. And some of the musical pieces even remind me of music you would hear in like those older horror like thrillers. Yeah.
You said film noir, and what's fun about this is this was the last film that Scorsese shot on film.
Really? He moved to digital.
Yep, moved to digital after this.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's really cool. Yeah. So last night we're watching this movie, and even a few nights ago we're talking about it with you, how there's, like you said, there's no composer, which is really rare. And so I did do some digging last night, and I found out that it's noteworthy that the soundtrack uses classical music, but mainly modern classical music, all from composers such as Chris. That's a really, really big name with a lot of syllables. Christoph Penderecki, Yorgi Ligeti, John Cage, Ingram Marshall, and Max Richter. Okay. So it's just like a bunch of different classical artists.
But they're modern.
Yeah. And they kind of just merge them all together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right, so favorite scenes.
So I have one, and I have a couple. There's a scene in the film leaning towards the third act where Teddy gets. There's a scene in the film where Teddy gets cut off from his partner Chuck.
Yep.
Or who would think his partner Chuck.
When he's in that
the catacombs of the cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good cinematography to show the different layers and all the crossing of the bridges to cross over the different rooms and levels. And he comes across the guy who plays Rorschach in Watchmen. I cannot remember his name.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Jackie Earl Hay. He's like all beaten up. He looks malnourished. He's shirtless, only his like withered pants.
Yep.
And the character's name is George Noyce.
Yep.
And they reference him earlier. Yep. That's one of my favorite scenes because he basically spoils the film for the viewer in that scene.
Yes.
He's telling Leo,
You said this when we were watching it. Yeah.
yeah, you did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That line.
He's basically telling us everything that we need to know. But if you're watching for the first time, you don't know that he's spoiling it. But watching it last night, it's like, oh, now it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
And you realize the genius in the storytelling, because I love movies that you have to watch multiple times to catch it all. And this is definitely one of those.
Talking about coming in there and the confusion and the perception of mental health with the audience in general. Our perception of mental health is going to be skewed because we think this man is crazy.
Right.
He is in a ward in a psychiatric hospital. What he's saying is, of course, gonna be fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna trust what he is saying. So I get it. And looking back, I'm like, oh my God. Like, of course he said everything that I've been thinking, but no, I don't believe it because this man's just nuts.
That's what's so genius about this film is it makes you not trust what you're hearing from the characters in this movie.
So I do have this question for both of you. Do you think that is because, and this might be a deep dive, but do you think that is because of the filmmaking and the direction of the film, or our perception of mental health in psychiatric hospitals?
Oh man.
For me, it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think it touches on both. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because Scorsese's intelligent and he knows how to do this. But also, like I've worked in mental health industries before for a while, and I get the feeling on both sides of distrust and of who can I trust, and paranoia and
Distrust of your own mind, which is really scary.
yeah.
It's just, because if it's easy to dismiss somebody as crazy. Like when you see like some of these characters in this film, it's easy to look at on the outside, oh, this person's crazy. You don't know what's happening on a chemical level in their brain. From a scientific level, you don't know what's happening. It's easy to dismiss everyone in this film, really. Even Ben Kingsley's character, who I would say is probably the most calm, level-headed voice of reason in the film.
He's pretty even-keeled the whole movie.
Right. Never changes from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So even when you're looking at that, everyone else seems crazy in this movie, and he's not. So you start to question him. It's like, well, what's wrong with him? Because he seems so normal.
And Mark Ruffalo, his character's even killed too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I even mentioned.
He's playing two different characters.
Yeah.
He's almost playing like the conscience for Leo.
Yes.
Yep. And at some point, it's like an extension of Leo.
Yes.
Like you're saying, and I said this last night, and then I was like, because I've only seen this movie. I think this is my third time to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to watch it again, knowing what you knew, or knowing what you knew the last time you saw it.
Yeah.
Because you pick up things, and that's what's fun about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, you start. We do this in other movies, like in Can't Hardly Wait. We would like see things in the background that you didn't notice the first time you saw it. There's that one scene where Leo comes in, and he had just finished the whole catacombs thing you were just talking about.
Right. Yes.
And he comes in and he like leans against that pole, and everybody else comes in, and they're all talking like, oh, there he is. Like, go ahead.
I was going to say there's the opening scene when they come to land. Watch all the police officers, or all the wardens and whatever you call them. Every single one of them are distrusting and holding their rifles and stuff with these two supposed marshals coming in from a ship. Like they're like all paranoid and watching him.
You pointed this out.
Yeah,
You
I
said
did.
watch that one guy's face because he was like super serious. They're like holding his rifle or whatever and like staring.
Get out of vehicles and
Yep.
turn and look at them. It's
Yep.
like, wow.
Yeah.
And I love the transition between when, like, you think he's a marshal, and you're going on that train for a little while, and then they go. My favorite scene. We didn't talk about my favorite scene, but my favorite scene is in that one. The storm hits, and they're inside of that catacomb or whatever it is, and like the big mausoleum. Is that what it's called? Mausoleum.
Yeah,
Okay,
mausoleum.
mausoleum. And like they're having that conversation. Really, really good dialogue. Really, really intense scene. I love that scene. But that's kind of the turning point, right? Because after that is when their clothes get changed and they're wearing the same clothes as the prisoners.
Right.
And the whole movie takes a turn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about it a couple of times already. Watching it from the first time and the second time, the differences you notice.
Yeah.
It, in a way, this movie preys on your mental capacity to process what you see in this film. So we discussed this a couple of times already. You said some things and you said some things about how you pick up something different on the second view versus the first view. This movie does a really good job, to me, of preying on your mental ability to process what you see.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting there watching this last night and I'm thinking, I feel a little bit crazy, or like I'm suffering from some mental illness watching some of this because of the way that you process it.
Yep.
Because you want to believe Teddy, but you also want to believe what everyone else is saying as well.
Absolutely.
And you get to a point where you don't know what to believe if you've never seen it. You don't know really who's telling the truth. So you're kind of just along for the ride the first time. But so once you know the truth at the end, you get to the end, everything's revealed to be what it is. Watching it the second time, your views kind of switch perspective, and you start to kind of distrust everything. Like I said, I've seen this before. Watching it last night, I was still very anti-trust of everything everyone said. And I'm like, man, this is messing with my mind. Even though I know the twists and turns.
Even what Leo's saying, like you start
Right.
to believe the whole
You do.
story. Like we even meet Latus,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Who is Elias Koteas.
Cotius.
He's played in several things, you know, really good, like evil kind of character actor. That whole cut in the eye, oh, it's freaky, right?
It was good.
But that scene was crazy. He's in that fire room, like
Yeah.
fireplace room,
Right.
or whatever.
He lights the match. and-
Man, cool scene.
Can we talk about how much emphasis was put on imagery in this film?
Oh, yeah.
I talked about this with Brad last night, how
Things are falling.
so many scenes, something's always falling down, and
Yep.
I likened it to him, when I talked to us, I likened it to like there's a descent because everything's falling.
Well, you have rain.
Right.
You have the ashes of the fire.
Yes.
You have the snow from his memories, right? When he was in the war.
Right.
You're exactly right. Like it's all descent or dissension or whatever.
It's like
Not dissension.
so
that's,
it's like in the Joker movie.
that's different.
It's like in the Joker
Yeah.
movie. Like he's always going up the steps until he becomes the Joker.
Yep.
And he's dancing down the steps, descending into madness.
Yep.
Yeah. I love imagery that's
really good.
Yeah, I love all that. So it kind of really is multiple scenes, but you talked about the first one when Mark Ruffalo and Leo are in that mausoleum.
The mausoleum, yeah.
To me, it's any scene. It's just the two of them.
Oh, so
because to
good.
me, more is revealed when it's Leo and him.
Plus, it means more to you now because you know that's the doctor he's talking to.
Yes.
Right?
Right. So you pay more attention on your second viewing.
Yeah.
And I'm still amazed at how much resonates more with me on the second view.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of moments that are just like mind blown on your second time or
Yeah.
third time because you're catching so many different things in the film. So I like all the scenes with just Leo and Mark Ruffalo. And it almost seems like when it's Leo and Mark Ruffalo and other actors in the film, Mark's kind of more of like an observer type. He's just kind of there.
What he does say in those kind of scenes are more off the cuff, funny lines.
Yeah.
And less information giving lines.
Right. So it's kind of like, I guess, one side of Leo's personality, like his humor side.
Right.
Maybe. So yeah, but like I said, it goes to his character. I love his character in this movie.
Yeah.
Because of the role, of the dual roles, I guess he plays in
Yeah.
it.
Can I bring up a thing about that? Another scene that stood out to me is the final scene when they're sitting
In the lighthouse?
Not at the lighthouse. When they're sitting on the steps,
Oh, man.
and they're outside, and he says, "So what's our next move?
Yep.
So what's our next move, boss?
What's our next move? You tell me. I got to get off this rock, Chuck."
Yeah.
And he
So
goes
we
into
knew.
that, and he says,
He looks over.
It's bad, and then his voice changes slightly.
Yeah.
And he says, then Chuck changes his voice. He says, "Don't worry, partner. They're not going to catch us."
Yeah.
I think it was Chuck that said it. It may have been Teddy. But he convinces him. But then he says, Which would be worse, to live as a monster or die as a good man?
And what does Chuck say?
He doesn't say anything.
No, he does. He goes, Teddy?
And that's right. Yeah, he
And
says
then Teddy gets up and
just
walks towards the orderlies.
willingly.
Yeah, and like he knew, like it was, so like man, what a great ending. Like he knew that he was back in he regressed, there's that word.
Right.
He regressed back to the original, or the other state of mind.
Well, they're all waiting to see if.
No,
if it worked.
I think it's reverse of that. I think he knew and didn't want to risk
So he
regressing. And that's why he says, what's worse, to live as a monster,
Or to die as a hero.
die as a hero.
So
So he said, I'm going to be Teddy and go die.
So I
Wow.
have some research on that line. That line wasn't in the novel, added in the movie.
Okay.
I'm assuming for a dramatic effect because that's a,
Ah, yeah.
that's
It's
a very
it's a great scene.
Scorsese way to end the movie.
Yeah.
It's the rat across the balcony and the departed. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not in the novel. Professor James Gilligan of New York University, who was Scorsese's psychiatric advisor, said that Latist's last words mean, I feel too guilty to go on living. I'm not going to actually commit suicide, but I'm going to vicariously commit suicide by handing myself over to these people
Yeah.
who are going to lobotomize me.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's-
But then Dennis Lehane, the writer of the novel, looks at it differently. He says that personally, I think he has a momentary flash. It's one moment of sanity mixed in the midst of all the other delusions. I think it kind of ties into what you're saying, where like Mark Ruffalo says Teddy, and then he kind of goes into that and just calmly walks off with the
Yeah.
orderlies. So
Yeah.
great line though.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need to bring up one other great line that I didn't realize, and it's another moment in that catacomb
Okay.
ward. It's with George Noyce. He says, "This is a game. All of this is for you. You're not investigating anything. You're a fucking rat in a maze."
See,
Oh, yeah.
he told us everything right. The
Literally,
whole movie's in that one
right
scene.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And we never know. We dismiss it because
Well, exactly. You don't know what to believe.
right. And then you look at him. He's the one in the cage.
Yeah.
He looks beat up. He looks malnourished. Why would you trust that person
Yeah.
over who we think is the person
Yeah.
investigating where this missing woman
Yeah.
is?
That
plays on your mind.
That
Yep.
one part where Ben Kingsley was like, "How are the hallucinations?" And he like looks over at Michelle Williams, and she's like walking towards him,
Mm-hmm.
and he like looks away. He's like, "They're all right." That was a good moment.
It was really good. Yeah.
I enjoyed
Fine.
that.
Do you have any other favorite scenes?
I think that's probably those are my two.
The big reveal in the lighthouse.
Oh
To me,
man,
like you put the best
where
scene
he
at the
crunches
end.
his gun, and he breaks his gun.
Man, yeah.
It was incredible.
And then of course Chuck shows up as
The revealing of
his
Chuck. yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's the way you end a movie. Is you
Yeah.
put the best scene at the end.
Oh yeah, of course. And then there's like that bookend of the scene you just talked
Yeah,
about.
with the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love how level-headed Ben Kingsley's character was through all that.
Yep.
And then, but you could see it breaking him. Like
Yeah.
he wanted this to work because he didn't want. He talks about ice baths and electroshock therapy and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like literally saying that to the audience of like these are all the things that are going on in mental health facilities
Yeah, right.
at this point in time. Like I'm
Yep.
going
In the
to spill
50s.
this for you so you understand.
Yep.
And I don't want to do that to you. So I said, if we did this, the grandest role play session
Yeah.
Ever, yeah.
created
Yeah.
would work.
That's cool.
I have one last favorite scene. I didn't realize I was gonna have so many, but I actually had to watch it with you last night, then go home and process. And so, it's not my favorite scene in terms of what happens, the content, but the reveal of what happens to his kids and his wife, Teddy's kids and Teddy's wife. How that all breaks down.
Yeah.
Marty really took his time as a filmmaker to let that play out. He let the pacing play out, and it's extremely devastating, and you feel for Leo in that scene, and that's when you realize this is why he is the way he is, because of what he witnessed and what he ultimately had to do. Because his wife, after killing the kids, jumps on his lap and says, "I love you." Is it free me? She says, or something to that effect of free me, because she suffers from mental health too, and he feels guilty, one, because he had to kill his wife, and two, because he knew she was sick and didn't get her any help.
Yeah.
So who's not going to be screwed up by what you saw and what you had to do?
Right.
Anybody would be.
Yeah.
It's
Man, what an
devastating.
incredible scene when it shows him going back to the house
Oh, man.
and at the lake, and he's like honey, I'm home. And, the whole thing about it, what he just went through with the guy they just caught.
Yeah.
And then, where are you? And then goes out to the swing and she's swinging and
Then he sees the bunny.
he's like, where are the kids? Mm-hmm. And she's like, they're in school.
And he's like, there's no school on Saturday.
He goes, it's Saturday.
And she said, well, there's school. She said there's school on Saturday.
He goes, there's no school on Saturday.
But what did she say after?
My school is in.
My school is in. And the look on his face, he understands what's happening.
Yep.
And then he kind of looks over her shoulder.
Over her shoulder to see the bodies.
Bro, when he sees the bodies of the kids,
and he loses
he's
it.
in there, like, grabbing them all up.
He gets all three of them,
Man.
and he lays them all out. And she's like, they'll be our living dolls. Let's clean them up and put them, and like, she is gone, right? Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh. And then it shocked me again when I saw it last night.
Yeah, me too.
When he shoots her.
Yeah.
Yep.
It shocked me.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't show the gun.
No.
They show from like.
And if they would have showed it, it would have ruined that shock moment, right?
Yeah.
So the way it was filmed, it's kind of like in The Village, whenever the knife goes in and you don't see it happen, but it's like and then they show it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Right.
Like that kind of reveal. Man, what a scene.
Powerful scene. Very
Powerful scene.
devastating. Very sad.
And it's also the last time he touches alcohol in the as because which
You're
is
right.
interesting.
Yeah.
As a character who is crazy, like that
Who made a conscious
he made a
decision.
conscious decision as
To not
this
drink
broken
anymore.
man to not drink,
Right.
And made up this other persona that doesn't drink, but it's never really said why he doesn't drink.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Right.
I mean, correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, because when he got to the house, I pointed this out last night. He opens that cabinet,
And-
and there's like 4 or 5 bottles of liquor.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he pours him a little, couple shots or whatever, and has a shot, and he goes, and that was the last time I guess he touched alcohol.
Yeah.
yeah, crazy, really, really good movie.
Yep.
I mean, really enjoyable.
Did you guys know that there was actually a video game based on this film that was released for PC?
What?
I'm thinking
What?
to myself, like, what is the content of this game? You're Teddy, and you're in this insane asylum trying to figure out what happened to this pretend missing woman. Like, I don't understand how that works.
I don't get
I
it.
have no words for this.
I wouldn't even want to play that game. I feel like it would mess with my mental.
It'd be like
ability.
a Resident Evil type.
Yeah.
Mental, the jump scares or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably
This
all
film-
it is.
There's a game like
This film is, to me, in a way, it is a horror film. It's scary because you can't trust. Well, Leo can't trust what he sees. He thinks everything's a conspiracy,
Yep.
and everyone's against him. When they're all there, well, some people are there to help him.
Yep.
Others are there to watch over him. Mm-hmm. But it just makes you. It puts you in the mindset of, can you really trust what you see?
Yep.
Like we're all sitting here now recording a podcast. Like, how do we know that what we perceive is
real.
reality?
Yeah, right.
It's a
Are we
scary
really
thing.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mind is such a scary thing.
The
It's
genre
fragile.
is considered mystery / thriller.
Thriller.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've always called it a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
I have to.
You know,
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
And there's absolutely horror elements. Remember that one lady he sees who's like, she's kind of losing her hair.
As
and
they show up to the-
she
yeah.
like, shh, like that. That was freaky.
It's very
Like,
freaky.
Ooh, I
that's
think
scary.
that's played by Rachel One.
I thought that too.
I think it is.
I didn't say it last
With
night.
makeup. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's who I think
now
it
that you
is.
say that, I can see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. So this movie's 40.2 million opening weekend was the career best for Martin Scorsese.
Really?
It went on to gross over 293 million, making it the highest grossing movie of his career.
Wow.
This was later surpassed by The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013.
Wow.
So just 3 years later.
So he's just getting better as he gets
Yeah.
older. That's
Yeah.
great. I love that.
Some more trivia. Do you have any more things to say
Nope.
about? Okay, cool. Before Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio decided to make this movie, they were originally going to make The Wolf of Wall Street. However, financing did not work out for that, and they took this movie instead.
Wow.
Yep. I bet you the financing came after this movie.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
this one. Oh,
They
okay.
raked it in.
Yeah.
Right?
I believe where they shot it wasn't an actual island. It's just an entrance. And I think it was foggy the day they did the scene.
Yeah, with the boat coming in.
Yeah, like it was actually foggy. It wasn't post-production.
There's that one scene where they just got to the island, and they're driving by a quote. Do you remember there was a quote on a plaque?
Lived, laughed, love? Or something
Well, it
like
says,
that?
"Remember us, for we too have lived, loved, and laughed." Seen on a plaque on the way to the mental institution. So, like when they were on the way, is taken from Medfield's Vine Lake Cemetery. A contest was held to come up with the quote to be used on a stone marker as a remembrance of those who died in the 1918 influenza epidemic known as the Spanish flu.
Wow. Wow. Because all I could think
Crazy.
was live, laugh, love plaques that all the white women have in their houses.
Yeah.
Hold up.
And I'm like, man,
hold
that
up,
takes away
relax.
from the levity of this.
Nah, my mom's black. She has it in her house, so relax. He said all the white women have it in their house.
Did you say that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Okay. I was reading.
Because everyone,
Brad caught up in trivia while we're over here beefing over it.
yeah, over my systemic racism.
This was filmed in 4 months in 2008.
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't write it
Really?
down, but
Yeah.
yeah,
David Fincher was considered as a director.
he would have been great at it too.
Do you think so? Do you think
Yes.
better than Scorsese on this?
I wouldn't say better, but he would have been.
He would have been a lot darker.
Yeah, because
That I agree with.
think of Gone Girl, Seven,
Yep.
both movies that mess with your mind.
Yep.
Oof.
Yeah,
7.
yeah,
Man.
We talked about this, but like throughout the most of the story, it's cloudy or dark and rainy, and then in the final scenes, the sun comes out.
It's bright and sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
right.
Like imagine the logistics of filming like with that stuff.
They just had to wait. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously. And the fact that they did it in 4 months, like that's even cooler because
Yeah.
like you have to wait for those days that are cloudy or whatever. Because
Right.
this is off the coast of Boston, right?
Which I
Cool.
would assume don't have many sunny days. So
Yeah.
they just, like you said, it's kismet. They just got lucky.
Yeah,
Happy
right.
accidents or whatever.
Happy
because
accidents.
there was a
Happy
lot of
accidents.
scenes in like where it's storming and raining. There's that one particular scene where they're trying to get to the mausoleum. Mm-hmm. And this is a hurricane.
Yeah, there's like
The
trees
wind,
falling
yeah,
down.
branches are falling. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy.
insane. Martin Scorsese's best movie? Yes, no.
For me, yes.
It's
Really?
so
Okay.
It's so different from his other movies. It's kind of hard to separate this one.
Yeah.
You know. I really enjoyed it. I think it is one of my favorite Scorsese movies.
Yeah, I mean I can't argue with that, and I probably have to say the same thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just this one resonated the most with me. I think it just was so well done, and I attributed like some of the noir feeling, like even the way it was filmed made it feel like a noir film to me.
Yeah.
Like it looked, some of the travel scenes, like when they're in a vehicle,
Yep.
made me feel like it was almost one of those old screens where they're like rotating the thing. you know?
Right, yeah.
I almost said that last night in the
Yeah.
Jeep scene.
In
when
the Jeep scene,
when he's
his
talking
hair
to-
wasn't moving.
When he's talking to Ted Levine, like that whole
Yeah,
scene. Like
yeah.
I thought
Yes.
that was you know, like a car on.
on like a little track thing, and
Yeah,
they're just
right.
sitting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that I really loved everything about this film.
Yeah.
Me
Like,
too.
just
I don't have any complaints at all. Actually, I wouldn't have mind because it does take elements from like noir films. I wouldn't have mind to see this in black and white.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I think it would have added another layer of
Yeah.
all that.
It wouldn't change the movie at all.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, guys, Shutter Island. I think we all loved it.
Yeah.
If
Definitely.
you haven't seen it, we'd highly recommend it. And this has been Beards and Flicks.
First one of 2021. Thank
Yeah.
you guys. Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah.
guys.
Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
We'll be right back.